A San Diego police officer has resigned after he was caught locked in the back seat of his squad car with a female detainee who propositioned him for sex last year, newly released body cam footage showed. Officer Anthony Hare left his post about a month after a probe was launched into the August 2023 incident, and one day before he was to meet with investigators for his second scheduled interview. Hare, who had been with the SDPD for 2 years, found himself in the vehicle with the female suspect after he arrested her on suspicion of stealing a car outside a convenience store. The suspect, who has not been named, was one of two people wanted for car theft. She also had a bench warrant out for her arrest. After Hare arrested her, he was supposed to bring her to police headquarters and later to the Las Colinas Detention Center in Santee, Califas for questioning. In body cam footage released by the SDPD, the suspect was heard propositioning the officer for sex after asking him if he was married. As the pair approached the detention center, Hare can be heard asking the female suspect what she is doing in the back seat. Hare turned off his body cam and slowed his vehicle as he drove onto a residential street, the outlet added. About 20 minutes later, Hare called for a fellow officer to help him out of the police car over the embarrassing mishap. I asked him if he was okay. He said yes, and then asked if I had my patrol car key with me. I asked why he was asking, and what did he need. The unidentified officer said of Hare, describing him as panicked. Officer Hare then asked me if I could go meet him. Investigators reported that Hare believed the woman was suffering from a medical emergency. Hare and the woman denied anything untoward happened, as the officer claimed he was checking on the suspect in the back. So we're dealing with a cop who decided he wanted to protect and serve himself, right? He saw this woman, he stopped, and then the woman was arrested for whatever, and she proceeded to proposition herself, right? I guess this is a way that women do, or things that women do in order to get out of a ticket or to get a lesser charge, right? And they proceeded to do the do. And, unbeknownst to him, he forgot that, the back of his squad car, there is adult child locks directly on there. So if you enter into the back of that car, you don't have the master key to get out of there, you're going to be stuck. So you're able to see that he was there up until one of his people came through with the master lock or whatever switch it is in order to unlock the back door and allowed him to get out. And the excuse that he had was like, hey, well, I had to go back there because I had to make sure that she was okay, because I thought she might have been going through some type of, medical emergency. And I just really wanted to make sure that, she was okay. So you mean to tell me that you went off to the side of a street to make sure that she was okay? You didn't try to cut on your lights, call back up, and run directly to the emergency if she was having this quote unquote medical emergency, or if you were technically unsure? I'm pretty sure you would have wanted to keep track or a record so that you would show that there was no negligence involved and that you tried to do everything possible in order to make sure that the suspect, right, that was under your guardianship, right, was completely fine and dandy. But that's not of any what took place. And then the other thing that I want people to pay attention to is at the tail end of that video, where you see both cops. One of the cops stated that, hold on, give me a second, let me cut this off, right? He was cutting off his camera because they were going to have a conversation. And what normally happens with these conversations is that the cops will narrate or tell their friends, their partners, what it is that they should say. They will say like, hey, this looks a little bit bad. I'm not going to assume. I pretty much know what took place. But, at the end of the day, we got to look out for each other. It's the blue. Got to back the blue because ain't nobody else going to look out for us, right? So they, decide to tell this narrative or this story. And, I'm guessing his story may hold up. And only due to the fact of the suspect, because they said during the whole process, she kept her mouth shut. And I'm like, she kept her mouth shut during the whole thing. She didn't decide that she wanted to try to say that some incidences took place that she didn't want to happen, and because this would have been the time. This would have been the moment for her to get her 15 minutes of fame and all of this money. And guess what? There would have been nothing that the cops could do or say. Because as they stated to you in the article, that they found some DNA evidence directly on a belt. So obviously we know some things did take place. Obviously we do know this because they swabbed. But that woman there, even though she is the most unloyalist, loyal woman that I've ever seen in my life, she decided to keep her mouth closed and to make sure that that man is going to more than likely have his job or still be on the force, or he might get transferred somewhere else. I'm pretty sure that they are going to keep in contact with one another. I'm pretty sure they're going to formulate some type of a relationship because, like I said before, this is how these relationships tend to start when it deals with cops. They might, have a girlfriend, they might have a wife, whatever it is, but then it's just that one person that's directly out there that feeds whatever need it is that they're looking for, and then they'll decide to link up with that person, not once, not twice, but three, if not more times. But the more questionable thing is how readily accessible that woman was at that moment in time, as if this is something that she has done before. Because to my knowledge, I'm not sure, maybe my memory is a little bit broken, but I don't really remember that she was highly inebriated to the point where she was just saying any and everything. She was conscious and she knew what it is that she was stating and what it is that she was propositioning to a officer of the law. And I want people to know that this is illegal. You are not supposed to do this at all at any moment in time. Like, you will face even more charges. But that's depending on if it's a cop that's actually about the law. When you have a cop that's not about the law, this is what you get. This is what takes place. This is what happens. And it also shows how you have certain men out here that are willing to risk it all just for a little bit of something. And that's sad. Because it wasn't that long ago that we heard about pretty much a whole precinct getting knocked off the board because of one woman. Because you had several male officers that wanted to have relations with one woman. And that one woman, no matter how her reputation was tarnished, she still came out on top, literally, because now her name is everywhere, and she's more than likely filing a lawsuit, a counter lawsuit, when it deals with the police chief and the many, many, many men that are directly a part of that incident. Like I said before, somebody, this needs to be studied. This needs to be studied. And the other thing too is, this is why you can't really trust the cops, because this is what cops tend to do. And I know some people may say that, oh, well, my father is a cop or I'm a cop. I know some people that are retired. Not all cops are the same. Well, guess what? There's not enough good cops out there. How about that one? How about that one, champ? There's not enough good cops out there in order to show the world a difference. Because every time I look around, there's a cop always doing something wrong, doing something that they're not supposed to be doing. Cops out here taking bribes. Cops out here getting, caught up in stings, a variety of different types. Cops that are doing things such as taking lives. Other stories that I've covered before over the years, which you have cops that have gone directly towards people who work the streets to mistreat them, to get something free directly out of them, or they'll inevitably face jail time because they're out there on the streets doing illegal things already. And then turning around and telling those women that, hey, it doesn't matter what you say, who's going to believe you? It's my word as a cop versus your word as a woman on the streets. But yeah, like people always say, believe all cops. Support men in blue, women in blue. And everything else is last. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.